this is Tanya. Welcome to Tanya Tina's Maths. I would be teaching CBSE Class 10 Maths and this is my sister Tina Lopez. I teach 8th Maths. Alright, now let's jump into the video.
Today we are going to be learning Chapter 6 Triangles Exercise 6.2 10th question. So this is the last question of this particular exercise 6.2. Okay. So now let's read the question. The diagonals of a quadrilateral ABCD intersect each other at the point O such that AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. Show that ABCD is a trapezium. Okay, so now we shall draw a quadrilateral. So first of all, now let us draw a random quadrilateral. Okay, 1 second guys. So I am going to be drawing a quadrilateral. So it's your wish. Quadrilateral means it should have 4 sides. Then that is known as quadrilateral. Okay. So you can draw a parallelogram, something. But it should be a quadrilateral. It should have 4 sides. So I drew a quadrilateral that is having 4 sides. So now let us name it as A, B, C and D. Okay, so here they mentioned the diagonals. So the diagonals of a quadrilateral in ABCD intersect each other at the point O. Okay, so we are supposed to draw diagonals now. So let us draw. So I drew diagonals. So they are intersecting at O. Okay, so this is that O. Alright guys, so now what are we supposed to show? So we are supposed to show that ABCD is trapezium. So first of all, do you guys know what is a trapezium? Trapezium is a quadrilateral. Okay, so quadrilateral means which is having 4 sides. So here I drew random quadrilateral which is having 4 sides, since you guys can see. But we are supposed to show ABCD. This ABCD is there now, this quadrilateral. We are supposed to show that it is a trapezium. So what is trapezium first? Trapezium means opposite sides are parallel. So here the opposite side is AB and DC. Okay. Alright guys, so we are supposed to show the opposite sides are parallel. Otherwise you can just show AD is parallel to BC. Otherwise you are supposed to show AB is parallel to DC. Okay, so we are supposed to show something, but the opposite sides now it should be parallel. For that now we shall write given values. So what is given in the question? So according to the question, they gave AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. So this is given in the question, am I right? So I just wrote it as it is. Now we shall write what are we supposed to prove. So what are we supposed to prove? So we are supposed to prove ABCD is trapezium, but we can't just write like this. I just told you guys opposite sides are parallel, am I right? That means I can just write we are supposed to prove AB is parallel to DC. We are supposed to prove something, but it should be parallel. The opposite sides, no, it should be parallel. But here AB and DC both are opposite sides, and here AD and BC is also opposite sides. I am going to be, if I prove AB is parallel to DC, then we can just call it as trapezium. Why? Because it is a property of trapezium. That one, our opposite sides are equal. Alright guys, so to prove something, we need a parallel line, am I right? But here we don't have a parallel line. So what I am going to do is I am going to construct a parallel line. Okay. So I am going to be constructing a parallel line. Okay guys, so I just constructed a parallel line. So let me just name it as P. Okay. So it is PO. It is a parallel line PO. You guys might be wondering why suddenly I am just taking only this side. Can't I just take it little bit longer, so little bit longer. What about if I take it till here? So I am just taking it till here. Why? Because we are supposed to prove only AB is parallel to DC. Okay, we are going to be proving that one. That's why I am just taking PO. Okay, so if you want to take the till here, no, if you just take it, then we are supposed to prove everything. That means in the previous question how we proved, no, likewise we are supposed to prove it. So here we are proving only that AB is parallel to DC. Just because we are proving this one, I am just doing it like this. Okay, so don't get confused between the previous question as well as this question. Okay, previous question means 9th question. So in the 9th question I just took the parallel line till here. So you guys might be wondering how can we do like that. But don't worry guys, in the previous question we are supposed to prove that AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. So that AO by BO is equal to CO by DO is there, no, that one it is lying on the most of the triangles. Okay, so it was lying on this triangle and this triangle, so it was lying on most of the triangles. That's why I just took the parallel line till here. But here we are going to be proving this one, that is AB is parallel to DC. That is really a simple and easy one and a short one. That's why I am just taking parallel line here. Okay, so don't get confused. Alright guys, so now we did something right over here. We just did construction. Am I right? So I am going to be mentioning that also. Why? Because randomly we can't just take that. Am I right? So we are supposed to show that we did a construction. Okay. So whenever you don't have a parallel line, please make sure that you guys take a parallel line and mention it right over here. Okay, so I just drew PO. Am I right? So I drew PO, right? So you guys should write draw PO. So here just because I drew PO, no, so this AB is parallel to PO. Am I right? And DC is also parallel to PO. That's why I called it as parallel line. Okay. So there is a reason why I just called it as parallel line. Okay, so PO and then DC is parallel to PO. Okay, so since so I'll write it some here. Okay, so I'm gonna write this one as it is for showing you guys. So we are supposed to we just constructed this. Am I right? Since I constructed this, if you want to prove AB is parallel to DC, so here I just after constructing I got few values. Am I right? So these are all clue words for us. So I got few values. So if I prove this AB is parallel to DC, then I can call it as trapezium. This is what we are supposed to prove. Am I right? So we are going to be using this clue. Okay, we are going to be focusing on this clue a lot. Okay, so just because I drew a parallel line, I got clue. So when I just take the clue separately right over here, and I saw that AB if we and I saw that if we use this clues, no, we can just show that AB is parallel to DC. So you guys might be wondering, why am I showing it like this separately? Why? Because by using these two words, okay, by using these two things, I can just show that it is AB is parallel to DC. How did I get to know AB is parallel to DC? How will I get to know that this is going to be a clue words? How means I just wrote it separately and just found it that AB we can just use this in question. Okay, I mean to solve it, we can just use it. Okay, so if you don't just understand this, just leave it. Okay, so just we drew a parallel line, that is PO, and we saw that AB is parallel to PO and DC is parallel to PO. Okay, when I just wrote it separately, I just found that we can just use this these two clues for proving AB is parallel to DC. That is a simple explanation. Alright. Now here is the confusion. Are we supposed to use BPT or converse of BPT? So in the question itself they had mentioned this one, that is AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. It is already mentioned in the question. Am I right? Since it is mentioned in the question, you guys might be wondering, we can use converse. Yeah, you're right guys. We can just use converse of BPT. But we are going to be using BPT as well. Why? Because then only it will be easy for us. Okay, so remember, most of the majority of the questions, no, we usually use BPT, though they ask us to show that AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. So if it is already mentioned in the, like this, if it is mentioned in the question, we are supposed to use converse, am I right? But we are supposed to use BPT as well. In majority of the cases, no, we usually use BPT as well as converse whenever we have like this. Okay, so why? Because if you apply BPT only, we are able to, will be able to prove it is converse, am I right? So if you don't just understand here, no, I'll just solve it and then you'll get to know what I'm trying to say. Alright, so now I'm going to be taking triangle ABD. Why triangle ABD? Why? Because it's going to be really useful for us. Okay. Okay, so first of all, let me just take triangle ABD, then you will understand. Okay. Alright guys, so we are done with the construction. So now we are supposed to show the proof. Okay. So let me just write proof. So since you guys know, I told you guys we shall take triangle ABD. So likewise, I am going to be taking triangle ABD. So in triangle ABD, no, I am going to be applying BPT, that is basic proportionality theorem. Okay. So let me just show you guys. So here is triangle ABD. So in triangle ABD, AP by PD is equal to BO by DO. Okay, so this is what is Thales theorem, that is basic proportionality theorem. Okay, so in triangle ABD, so in triangle ABD, which is parallel to which one? So this is triangle ABD, right? ABD. So this AB is there, right? So AB is parallel to PO. So let us write that also. AB is parallel to PO. So now let us apply basic proportionality theorem, that is Thales theorem. So AP by PD is equal to BO by DO. Okay, so by BPT. So you guys might be wondering, in the question they mentioned AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. It was given in the question, am I right? So if it is given in the question like that, then we are supposed to use converse theorem. Why am I using BPT? So that's why I just told you guys, so for example, so here I have this, am I right? So AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. So I just told you guys that whenever we have something like this which is mentioned in the question, given in the question before, then we are supposed to use converse. Why am I using BPT right now? Why? Because if you want to prove it, if you want to use converse, no, first we are supposed to use BPT. After getting BPT only, I can just use converse. Okay. So remember that. Okay, majority of times we use BPT and then only we will use converse. Okay, why? Because without using BPT, no, we can't just directly write converse. Okay, so we are supposed to use BPT at first. Okay, so I hope the doubt is clear. Okay, so I just use BPT. So now I can just take it as equation number 1. Am I right? So how we used to do, no? Likewise, equation number 1. Okay, so now let me just take another one value, but here we usually take another one triangle, am I right? But I am not going to be taking another one triangle. Why am I not taking another one triangle? Why? Because they had mentioned something like this one in the question before. So let me show that. So you guys used to have, so already they had mentioned like this one value, am I right? So this is also part of it. It is also BPT. Am I right? It is a kind of BPT. Why? Because basic proportionality theorem means we are supposed to prove like this. Am I right? Something is equal. Something is equal to something else. So we are supposed to. This is what is BPT, guys. So we are supposed to use this now. Okay. So rather than taking another triangle, no, it is better to use this. Okay. Why? Because we have to use something which is given in the question, right? So if they had mentioned in the question, there is a use. Okay, there is a benefit of it. That's why they had given in the question. simply they won't just give this in question. Okay, so remember that if they had mentioned something, you have to think about it. Something is strange, right? They had mentioned something, then we are supposed to use it, so let us use it. Okay, so now let us use, so first let us write given. So once again, so once again guys, don't write like this. So first I'll write that one. Okay, so AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. Am I right? This is given in the question, so I'm going to be writing it given right over here, but I'm not going to be writing it BPT. Okay, why? Because it is already given in the question, that's why I'm just writing it. Okay, so now I'm going to be taking it as equation number 2. Okay, I just took it as equation number 2. So I'm going to be comparing equation number 1 from equation and 2. Okay, so what is from equation number 1? So when you just see equation number 1 and 2, something is strange. We don't have a similar value, am I right? So it is somewhat confusing, am I right? But don't worry guys. So here in equation number 1 I have AP by PD is equal to BO by DO. Here also I have AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. Oh my gosh, something is strange. But don't worry guys, I am going to be showing you a trick. Okay, so here also we are supposed to use something, that is, so one second. Yeah, so I have this value, right? So this value, when we just cross multiply it, we'll get another one value. What is that another one value? So I'll just show. So let me just write AO. So I'll write it. So AO by BO is equal to CO by DO. So this is mentioned in the, this is what is given, am I right? So when I just cross multiply it, I get AO into DO is equal to CO into BO, am I right? So when I get this DO to next side, here it is in a multiplication form. When I get it to this side, it changes into division. Am I right? So here I am going to be getting this CO to this side. So when I get it to this side, it changes into division. Why? Why? Because here it is in the multiplication form. Okay. So now I got a value. Am I right? So this is what is that value. So some guys might be wondering, why did I get DO to this side? Can't we just get AO to this side? So why particularly I just brought the CO to this side? Can't I get this BO to this side? Then it will become AO by BO. So what is the problem with that? So I just brought it to this side. Why? Because we want something similar. Am I right? So we want according to equation number 1. So this is equation number 1. So when we just compare both the equations, we need something similar. But here we had a problem that we don't have something which is similar. That is what the problem is. Am I right? That's why I just took cross multiplication. So I just noticed that if I just get this DO to this side, then it changes into division. Am I right? So when I get this CO to this side, it changes into division. Then it is AO by CO is equal to BO by DO. We can just write it like this. When I just write this same value here, so I will write or AO by CO is equal to BO by DO. Okay. So if I write like this, no. So I just wrote the same value here. Okay. I just wrote the same value here. So when I just write it like this, when I just compare it right now with the equation number 1 and this one. Okay. So when I just cross multiplied this only, I got this value. Am I right? So when I just compared this both, I got something similar. This is what I want. So here I have BO by DO. So once again, Am I right? So here also I have BO by DO, which is both are similar. Am I right? So since I got both the values like similar, so I can just write the rest of the value. Why? Because I am going to be ignore these two values since they are similar. Okay. So I am going to be writing this value, that is AP by PD is equal to, so here AO by CO. I am not going to be taking any of these values. Why? Because when I just cross multiplied it, I got this value. Okay, just because I got this value only, I am able to write. I am able to ignore the similar values, and I am able to write the left out values. Okay, so don't just get confused. This value, these values are there. No, this is another form of this value. Okay, that is the simplest explanation I would like to give to you guys. Okay, so now I got something here right over here, that is AP by PD is equal to AO by CO. Alright, so now let us see look at this value in a quadrilateral. So this is a quadrilateral. So here where is AP? So AP is here, PD is here, and AO is here, and CO is here. So it is lying on this triangle, that is ADC. Okay. So now since they are lying on this triangle, that is ADC, here I have AP as well as PD, and I have AO as well as CO. Okay, then I can say PO is parallel to DC. Am I right? So I can just say like that. Am I right? So I am going to be writing PO is parallel to DC. Otherwise you can just write DC is parallel to PO. Both are same only. Okay, so I can just write. So let me just write it here. Okay, so PO is parallel to DC. So I can't just write randomly like that. Am I right? So what I am going to do is I am going to be writing it converse of BPTs. So see guys, I am just using converse of BPT right over here. So converse of BPT. Okay, so you guys might be wondering, right? So in the starting of the question, you just question me that how can I use BPT in the place of converse of BPT. So here, as I told you guys, I used BPT at first. So that is basic proportionality theorem, and then I just use converse of BPT. Why? Because randomly we can't just use converse of BPT like that. We are not supposed to use converse of BPT directly like that. When we just use BPT, then only we will get one value, that is this value. So this is BPT, am I right? That is basic proportionality theorem. This is what we proved in BPT. So since I proved this in BPT, that is basic proportionality theorem, then when I just compare these values, when I just check these values in this figure, that is ADC. So here I got AP by PD and AO by CO. I can say PO is parallel to DC. Okay, so converse of BPT means one value is parallel to another value. That is converse of BPT. Am I right? So since it is converse of BPT, now I can say PO is parallel to AB and PO is parallel to DC. So you guys might be wondering, I got PO is parallel to DC, am I right? So I got this, but I didn't get PO is parallel to AB. So you guys, as you guys know, we got this PO is parallel to DC, but we didn't get PO is parallel to AB. Then how can I say that PO is parallel to AB? So here in the starting itself, when we wrote proof, right, in the starting itself, when we took in triangle ABD, here I just mentioned AB is parallel to PO. Am I right? Why did I mention AB is parallel to PO? Just because I took a triangle ABD. So since I had already mentioned AB is parallel to PO, then I can say it is a trapezium. Okay, so this is what we want. Am I right? Trapezium means opposite sides are equal. Okay, so opposite sides are parallel. So parallel is the right word to use right over here. So opposite sides are parallel. So since we drew this PO, that is parallel line, we were able to prove that PO is parallel to AB and PO is parallel to DC. Okay, so when I just proved it, opposite sides are equal right now. Am I right? So now I can write ABCD is a trapezium. Since I proved this both, that is PO is parallel to AB and PO is parallel to DC, I can just write AB is parallel to DC. Okay, I can just randomly write it like that, just because I proved it. In case if I don't prove it, no, we can't just write it like this. Okay, so we need proof for everything. So okay, so I just proved it. Just because I proved it, I was able to write it like this. So now I can write A, B, C, D is a trapezium. Why? Because opposite sides are parallel. Okay guys. So I just wrote ABCD is a trapezium. Finally I just solved it.
Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like this video, share it to your friends and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any doubt, you can comment me in the comment section. Catch you in the next video. Bye.